Hello and welcome to Infinity. I'm Charlie Seraphin. For the next half hour, we're going to be talking about insight meditation, also known as Vipassana meditation. And we're going to leave some time to try two specific meditation techniques. Our guests are Jack Cornfield and Len Schlosser. Jack Cornfield is a psychologist who is trained as a Buddhist monk in Thailand and Burma. He's been teaching meditation for 10 years to people from all walks of life. Len Schlosser is the Public Affairs Director at KPIX Television in San Francisco. He's been practicing insight meditation for 3 years. Jack, let's start with you. What is insight meditation?
Insight meditation is a tradition or kind of meditation that comes from the Buddhist teachings, and it's a way of first learning to calm yourself or your mind and your body and heart, and then secondly to pay attention inside to discover things about yourself that will be useful to live more happily or more productively in your life.
When we say the word insight, we often think of looking into things and thinking about things, but meditation, at least in my mind, is not a thinking kind of process. So there seems to be a couple things at odds there.
That's a great question, actually. There are two ways of understanding. One is through thought, and the other is when the mind becomes more silent and you simply observe or feel or listen or see. And insight meditation, then, is to let go of thoughts and let the mind become a little quieter, and then voices from the heart will speak, or things that the body has to tell us in ways of taking care of it or to teach us. Many levels of our experience become available when our mind becomes a bit quieter.
Len, in your practice of insight meditation, how can you separate the insight from the little mental noises that are always going on, the little thoughts that keep creeping up?
It's not easy, Charlie. In fact, it's very difficult, very painful at times. And I remember a story of one of my teachers that it's like training the mind is like training a puppy to be still. It's constantly racing, constantly moving away, and it's very difficult to grab hold.
How does it work for you? You have a kind of a high-pressure job in the media and television, which is very fast-moving and a lot of time deadlines and people shouting around you all the time and rushing about and having crises on a constant basis. How does it work? How can you get to that? How can you calm the mind when you've got 18 things to remember at all times?
Well, it's not easy just living a life today in our century and in this country. Life is tense. It's full of stress, and particularly in our business and television and radio. But I find meditation a very restful, relaxing kind of thing. It's sort of my life has been running at such a fast pace, and I seem to be racing through middle age so quickly that I need to find some relaxation. I need to stop a bit and get in touch with myself, which I try to do on a daily basis, early in the morning and sometimes late in the evening, to separate myself, or actually to get in touch with me, with myself. Insight meditation is just that. It kind of, you want to separate yourself from what's going on around you and just to focus on what's going on inside you, whether it's thinking or feeling or hearing, and just to relax and stop and pay attention to what is going on within me at the precise moment that it's happening.
Vipassana, what is that? What does that mean?
It's a word that comes from a language like Sanskrit, and it means to see things clearly. And part of the meditation, it's useful when one sits with one's eyes closed, but it's a training in meditation for living as well. Most of the time when we drive or go through our day, or a good part of it, we're on a kind of automatic pilot. You know the experience where you can drive from your house to work and not remember anything that you passed and be lost in thoughts. Or go even to the countryside, to a beach, and walk along and be so caught up in your thoughts about what you'll do when you get back to work and what you owe and in the bills and things that you don't smell the salt air or you don't feel the sand. And the tradition of Vipassana and of meditation is to bring a more conscious or aware way of living to all the parts of our life, which means that when you're on the beach you can smell the ocean, and when you're driving you're able to use that as a time to relax rather than worrying about what's going to happen at your next appointment.
If you relax when you're driving, do you run the risk of running off the road and
I think
crashing
actually
into
you're probably a safer driver. I think more accidents happen when someone's sitting there and thinking about what they have to do in their next business meeting or with their wife or husband when they get home. And to actually be relaxed doesn't mean that you don't pay attention. It actually means a state of relaxed alertness. And it's a wonderful experience. And most of us have had it, but we don't know how to train it in our lives. We don't know how to develop it as a way to be.
There's a phrase that comes from computer technology. It's called self-diagnostics. And cars have it to a certain extent now. A little buzzer will go off before something really breaks and goes wrong. We have it on our newsroom computer that a little light will go off if a circuit is being put under too much stress or there's a problem that hasn't really manifested itself yet, but it's about to happen. Is this meditation a type of self-diagnostic, or do you also, when you have insights, do the just wonderful positive things come through and into clearer focus?
Both of those things are true. It's self-diagnostic in that when you sit down, you may begin with the breath just to calm yourself, and then there are different levels, the body or the emotional level or the mental level. You may sit and all of a sudden discover a place where you're holding a lot of tension in your body, and through the day or through the week of stress, it's built up, and as you meditate, it's a signal to you to relax that, to soften it, and so your body gives you some indication of what's necessary. At the same time, as you get relaxed or calmer, there is a sense of well-being or of a presentness so that you can smell the salt air or see the flowers, that itself is very positive and quite wonderful.
A number of recent Infinity programs that we've done have dealt with the concept of joining, of togetherness, of society, of appreciation for the mass culture in which we live, and lots of people together. Meditation suggests an aloneness, a solitude, a going to the mountain. Is that a critical factor in what we're talking about here, this type of meditation?
The solitude that's necessary in meditation is called the solitude of the heart. And for some people it may be helpful to go to the mountains, to the Sierras, or to a quiet room in the country. The more important silence in Vipassana meditation is that which you can discover and then take with you to the office or in a traffic jam. There's a silence apart from the world, and there's a kind of calmness or collectedness that you can train yourself in, that you can keep even through a very busy day. So what's more important than removing yourself from the world is learning how to find a centeredness. Now, a lot of people are afraid of being alone. We're a very busy social culture, and you get a little bit lonely and you pick up the phone or you open the refrigerator or you read a book or anything but being a little lonely and bored. And because of it, we keep our lives very busy. If you can take a little time to be alone, you kind of break the ice in yourself and make friends or learn how to experience that, then it shifts from loneliness to a sweet experience of aloneness, where you can be actually quite happy drawing or walking or reflecting or reading, and some of the edge of needing such high stimulation of all the time people and movies and things like that drops away. And one of the things is then one becomes calmer and more peaceful inside. The second is that then deeper voices come up from the heart and the body that suggest new things or creative things will arise in that time alone. And then we can go back to the world and take those things and engage in a more creative and a rich way.
Charlie, can I add something to that? Very personal experience. This morning when I got up, I tried to meditate, and I was very tense about coming on to do this show. I was coming on with a teacher, with Jack, who has been my teacher for 3 years, and I felt, what can I say that he won't be able to say? How can I relate anything to it? And I really became so tense that I blocked out anything. I really didn't know what I was going to say, what to talk about. And in the meditation, the mind kept running away from that question. Other things kept coming up. My daily, whatever my chores were going to be at KPIX, or whatever else was on my mind. And I try to keep pulling it back to focus on this particular thing. And as I began to relax, to soften into that feeling, some of that tenseness disappeared. And my mind opened up to lots of things that I could relate, to some experiences that I had. The fact that I just did that, I was very tense, thinking, what am I going to say in relation to what Jack just said? And I just took a deep breath, in a sense, and I'm relating to it now. So the meditation really puts you in touch with what you're really feeling, rather than run from the tenseness, because what happens is that it gets worse. It gets stiffer, and you lose touch with it. But when you get in touch with it and you experience it, it kind of disappears. And your mind begins to clear, and you're able to deal with what is really happening at that particular moment.
There are people in our society who would suggest that contemplating one's navel, meditation, is a waste of time.
I've heard that.
You know, I mean, why aren't you doing something
Right.
productive?
You are more productive, because that's a big myth. Contemplating your navel is the furthest thing from the truth. When you're meditating, you are so in touch with what is happening precisely at every single instant, because the focus in this meditation is on your breath. What could be more focused in this instant than in your own life, in the in and out of your breathing, or whatever else that comes into your mind, whether it's a thought or a feeling? The tendency is to let it go for one reason or another. Maybe it's just fear or pain. But if you deal with it, that's precisely what's happening at that moment. So it isn't contemplating your navel at all. It's you're dealing with what is very real at that moment within your own self.
Is this a religious practice? We mentioned Buddhism as a root of the meditation. Is it something that is, if I'm a Catholic, a Protestant, or a Jew, that will conflict with any values that I might have? Or if I see myself as an agnostic and I don't really want to be associated with anything religious, is this a problem?
Not in the slightest. In fact, it deals with the laws of the heart and the laws of the mind. People want to be happy, and the meditation and the teachings of it address that directly. We can be happier if we pay attention to our feelings. We can be happier if we learn how to relax in our body. We can be happier if through insight we discover how things are changing in ourselves and are able to relate to the changes of our life rather than being afraid of them. The laws of the mind that have to do with what's called karma, which in a very simple term means that you don't get away with nothing. That what you do creates how your mind will be next week, or how people will relate to you. And when you start to discover that, whether you're an agnostic or a Christian or a Buddhist, kindness or attention or care for what you do brings a kind of happiness in a universal way.
What is the concept of warrior?
There's a concept of spiritual warrior that's been used. Carlos Castaneda used it a lot in The Man or Woman of Knowledge. And he says something very nice which relates to the meditation, that most people relate to the problems that happen in their lives as a blessing or a curse. Whereas a spiritual warrior is someone who takes their life as a challenge. Even things which are difficult, which arise, become workable. You pay attention, you learn from them, you use them in some way to grow. And the meditation is directed, as Len was saying, to really experiencing what's going on in our bodies and our feelings, looking at it directly, and then working with that.
Len, how about an insight meditation retreat? What is that?
Well, if you had asked me that 4 years ago, I'd have said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I certainly would never have thought about going to one, because I had all kinds of images, especially a silent meditation retreat, which is what I've been attending and which Jack teaches. It's really, well, let me say, to me, it's been an experience full of dullness, full of restlessness and sublimeness. And you have a little bit of all of these things throughout the, whatever it's 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 months at a meditation. For me, I find it as a journey of discovery of the mind and exploring in a very quiet, silent way who I am and what I'm all about. It gives me a chance to quiet the mind, especially coming from where I come from every day with a lot of action, a lot of stress, a lot of attention, a lot of excitement. And it gives me a chance to quiet the mind. It takes me 2 or 3 days at least before my mind quiets down. I mean, my mind is racing in the first few days and I'm there. It's very difficult to allow the mind to settle, to be quiet, so that you can begin to pay attention to what's going on.
Is this a physical place that you are physically going to and you are staying there for an indeterminate amount of time?
Yes, it's you know, in one sense it's a resort. I mean, there are no sports activities, but you have a dormitory, you have a place to eat and stay, you have a meditation hall where all day long you arise somewhere around 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30. You do some stretching exercise, if you will, clean up your room and go to an hour of meditation, of silent meditation, and then you have breakfast, and then for the rest of the day it's sitting and meditating and walking and meditating or eating and sleeping. And that's basically what it is. There's structure there, but nobody is policing you what to do. It's something that you do pretty much on your own.
Is the aspect of silence critical to quieting the mind?
It's very helpful in the beginning, and certainly at a retreat. Most people are afraid when they come to a retreat to be silent for 10 days seems impossible, or even a weekend, and discover that it's one of the easiest things, that sitting with their mind chattering is a lot more difficult than the exterior silence, and that the silence, in fact, then allows you to hear things inside you wouldn't otherwise. We're so busy, we don't listen to our hearts. And if you ask someone, suppose you were only to live for another year or another 6 months, what would you do in that 6 months? What would you do in that year? People reflect and they say, well, I really care about this, my family, or something in the society. But usually we don't take the time to ask in our heart, what do we really care about? And then to make that a part of our life. The silence helps to listen in that kind of a deep way, and also it helps to quiet the body and release the knots of tension that we've accumulated in our life.
Charlie, one thing it does for me, it slows me down tremendously from the pace that I normally take daily. It slows me down to a point because there's no hurry there. There's no place to go. There's nothing else to do but just to settle back, really, and pay attention to what's going on each moment.
Does it help you to find silence in noisy times? After you've done, I mean, it's great to have 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 days or whatever the amount of time is to really enjoy that special quiet and calm of a retreat. Any kind of a retreat is a vacation, in a certain sense, accomplishes that for a lot of people.
That's right.
But when you get back, one of the problems with the traditional vacation, at least for me, is it takes you about 20 minutes back on the job after a vacation, and you're right back up to speed again.
That's right, but at least you have a chance to remind yourself from time to time, not always, every day, but from time to time, if you get too caught up in a problem, in a stress, you can remember what it was like at a retreat. You can remember the teachings, and you can pull back, in a sense, and become a movie watcher. I mean, watch what's going on, and just pay attention, get back into yourself. What's happening? What's happening at this particular moment to me? And that in itself quiets me from what's going on around me.
What you learn is that you can train your mind. The first insight most people have is how busy it is in there, how full it is of worries and thoughts and plans, and that you discover through working with the breath and through relaxation that you can, with practice, learn how to calm yourself or learn how to feel even difficult things with less tension. And then you can bring that and make it a part of your daily routine or even in your office. So it's really a skill, and to me a central one, because if you can do that, then all the other things you do, you can concentrate better on them, or be more attentive and less lost in the past and future and worries and so forth.
Once in a while, I wish I could do it every day, but once in a while I'll try to get away for lunch by myself in a restaurant where there's a lot of talking, a lot of noise going on, a lot of activity, and just sit and enjoy the meal and pay attention to every move that I make and to every bit of taste the food that I'm eating. It's amazing how much we ignore. We're just not aware of the fact that we're eating. We're so caught up in thought or in conversation. And just to do that, even if it isn't a perfect sitting, if I can taste the meal better, I'm more aware of what I'm doing, and that, in a sense, relaxes me.
Is the diet critical to insight meditation? Does it matter if you're eating
Not at all.
a hamburger or
It's the
a sprout salad?
It's the attention you bring, and we teach an eating meditation where you really taste your food and feel it, and you listen to your body and see when it says you're full rather than your eyes saying, gosh, there's a lot more on the plate, or that looked great. You feel what your body needs, and we teach a walking meditation, which is how to learn to walk and be there with each step, and to say it in a few sentences, that you let go of the past and the future, and you feel your body, and you feel the contact on the ground and the steps as you take it, and you get centered in that. So when you walk from the office, even down the hall to your bathroom, you're able to get collected again and more aware and not on automatic pilot. It makes life a lot richer.
Where does God fit in to all of this? I got two blank
lot of
looks. It's
people-
not
No,
television.
no, it's all
I should
right.
tell you that I got two blank looks at first. Here it is.
A lot of people have different images or meanings for the word God, and I like to use it at times during the retreat. For me, God is the totality of everything, and there's a word in Sanskrit, dharma, that means the same thing. It means the truth, and it means the totality of things. And the purpose of the meditation, as in much of the silent Christian tradition, is to learn to listen to God a little more closely and a little bit less maybe to the chatter in our minds.
So far, in most of what we talked about in insight meditation, we've talked about something that's very personal, that is getting to know oneself, a kind of an inside-out approach, starting at the basics with the breath. Where does love fit into that, which we normally think of needing some other in order to experience love?
Love grows very deeply when we are in touch with ourselves and when we are aware. If you're with someone and you're worried about what she or he's going to say and what you're going to do and whether it lasts or whether it won't and all that stuff, it interferes with an ability to just be aware and open to that person. Mindfulness, which is the mental state that's key in this meditation, is an ability to pay attention without judging or grasping or avoiding something. And so in a way, it's again training us to be receptive. Then you can look someone in the eye or be there with them, and even if your fears come up, you can stay with that, and it allows for, in fact, a much deeper and more loving connection. When we touch our own hearts and when we're in touch with our bodies, we know how much to eat, and we also become able to love better.
The last couple of days I've been working with somebody who's getting ready to have a baby, and we've been working on breathing exercises, so I'm going to be a coach.
Let's talk to Jack
I
about
have a
that,
baby
Sally.
due in 2 months, and I've been
Okay.
doing the same thing.
Okay.
That's great.
The breathing techniques are perhaps a little bit different, but I would guess that there are some similarities. Let's go through a couple of exercises if we can. How someone who's listening right now can at least get to first base on insight meditation.
All right, there are 2 exercises. One I wanted to do for just a minute is a driving exercise, but let's make that second. We'll do the other
Okay.
one first.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're driving and you listen to this first one, when I say close your eyes, ignore that instruction. For those who are at home, try to sit in a way in which you are relaxed and your feet are flat on the floor and you're not holding anything. And then let your eyes close. If you're driving, keep your eyes open and be relaxed in the car seat. First, scan your body. Let your eyes be soft and your jaw relax, and your neck and shoulders drop, and your hands be soft. Let go in your belly a little bit, and your pelvis and legs and feet. Once you've relaxed a little, bring your attention now to feel your breathing. Take 2 or 3 deeper breaths in order to feel it clearly. And pay attention to the coolness and the movement, the whole sensation of it. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you take each breath, allow it to let go of your worries, your past, your future. Just let it all go for this minute and be only aware of the coolness of the air coming in and the sensation as it passes out. Let it be like an ocean wave. Comes in, goes out, and washes you, letting go of your fears and your thoughts. Let you be just here. So this first meditation is to follow the breath and relax the body. And as you do it, if you let yourself meditate for some minutes after this program, other things will arise, thoughts or tension or feelings. Stay with the breath and let those come as they will, like clouds in the sky of the mind. They'll come in the body or the mind. Feel them, pay attention to them, let them come and let them go, and stay centered with the breath. And if you do that even for 10 minutes, you'll discover you end up both calmer and also more aware of what's going on inside you in a lot of different levels, physical and mental.
And the second exercise, we're driving in a car.
All right, now you're driving in a car. As you drive along, feel your hands on the steering wheel and feel your body sitting on the seat. Scan your body with your eyes open. Bring a little attention into your body and see if there's any place that you're tight that you can relax. You can hold the wheel and let your arms be a little softer. You can relax your face and your jaw. You can relax your legs and your feet, so that you drive along and it's not like you're gripping the steering wheel, but you really let it be soft. Now let go as you drive along. Let go of past and future. Don't think about where you're going to get to or what you'll do there, but just feel the steering wheel, see the sights as they're coming by. Feel your body as if you're floating in the center of this world with sights coming by, with sensations in the body, and you start to live not on automatic pilot, but really in the present moment. And if you continue to do this and pay attention, then as you quiet down, you may feel your breath as you drive as well. Let that be there in the background, and whatever arises, feelings or thoughts, let them come again like clouds and let them go, staying centered in the present moment.
This is Infinity. Remember to keep your mind open and listen to your heart. I'm Charlie Seraphin. Thank you for listening.